I woke up and everybody's really upset about this, especially about the Ryan Reynolds not being deposed thing. And I understand the reaction, but I just want to give some context to this. If you make the decision, like if the Lively people made the decision that we are not going to use Ryan Reynolds as a witness, we are not going to list him as a person with knowledge, or we are going to assert spousal privilege, or whatever, we are not going to offer Ryan Reynolds as a witness. That is a strategic decision that they can make by saying he doesn't know anything, or what he knows is all covered by the spousal privilege. And if they say he doesn't know anything or he can't testify to anything that isn't privileged, then the Wayfarer people not deposing him is like, okay, fine. And the reason it's okay, fine, is because that means they can't use him as a witness at trial. You can't have it both ways. If you are somebody who has knowledge about the issues in the case, who may testify at trial, then you have to be deposed. If you choose to say, I'm not going to be someone who testifies at trial, or I have a legal reason why I'm not, you can make that decision. But that means that you are then sidelined for the rest of the case. So it could be that the Wayfarer people are like, okay, I mean, we haven't seen this on the docket. We haven't seen the Wayfarer people fighting about spousal privilege and fighting about blah, 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 which leads me to believe that they may be like, okay, then don't test. If Ryan's out, then Ryan's out. But he cannot then come back and testify at trial about what he saw on set. He cannot testify about the script changes stuff. He cannot testify about her emotional distress, which is part of her damages for most of her claims, especially the sexual harassment. Okay? Which I figured he was going to be at least part of the testimony for that, because remember, she's not going to do doctors. So when she claims like, I couldn't get out of bed, this was so upsetting to me, especially with the smear campaign stuff, he was the one who would normally be like, my wife was a wreck. I've never seen her like that before. If he wasn't subjecting himself to a deposition, he can't do that now. He can't speak about the time he yelled at Baldoni in the penthouse. So all of that information can be put out there, and he will not have the opportunity to respond. Okay? So it's hard to tell whether it's good or bad at this point in time. Now, obviously, this story was dropped by the Lively people because it only mentions the people who could potentially be helpful to Lively. There's no reason why the Wayfarer people would leak that Jenny Slate and Colleen Hoover have been deposed and Ryan Reynolds has not, right? But I think from a strategic, and I'll let the PR people decide why it's so important that they put in a story that he was not deposed. Maybe he wants people to know he wasn't deposed. Maybe there's some reason beyond that. But from a legal strategy standpoint, if they decided that Ryan's just going to be out of that thing and he's not going to have his deposition taken, that takes Ryan out of the entire case as a fact witness. If they were to then put him on a trial witness list, the Wayfarer people could go to the judge and pretty much without, with a snap of a finger, be like, if someone's going to testify at trial, we get to depose him. The judge would be like, of course you do. I have seen judges push the beginning of the trial back because somebody put someone on the witness list who hadn't been deposed yet. So whatever side you're on or no side, I know that Wayfarer or Baldoni people are going to be upset that he was not deposed, but it also means that if there is a trial, and even at summary judgment, when stories are being told and when the facts are being presented to say, like, here's what happened with things that are around him, he will not be able to respond. He will not be able to give his version of events. And that has some meaning also. So I'm not trying to tell people how to feel. I never do that. Just know that I think the context is a little bit bigger, shocker, than people.com is reporting.